Hey TikTok, I know it's been a minute since I've seen you guys. I do apologize for not getting a video to you guys on New Year's, but I'm still gonna get you guys a video to kick this year off right. Today's topic is gonna be faith, and we're gonna be all our scriptures. For the very majority of them are gonna be in Hebrews chapter 11, which talks about faith. Hebrews is a book of faith after all, so we're gonna be talking about that. If you're a newer believer, if you are a newer believer in God, or you're just a veteran who needs to polish up on their faith, I hope this video helps you to grow in your faith with God and give you a better understanding of what faith is. All right, you're going to read Hebrews chapter 11, and verse 1 says, "Now faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen." Oh yeah, I am reading the KJV version of this. So luckily for us, in Hebrews chapter 11, the first verse gives us what faith is. It is a substance for things hoped for and the evidence of things not seen. That is hoping for things that we cannot physically see sometimes, but we trust that it will still come to fruition because we're trusting in God and not ourselves. And not chapter 6. In verse 6 of chapter 11, it says, "But without faith it is impossible to please God. For he that cometh to God must believe that he is, and that he is the rewarder of them that diligently seek him." Now, since it's impossible to please God without faith, I think it's very important that we have a great understanding, or not a great, but at least some understanding of God, so we can actively work towards pleasing him. Now, what exactly is faith? Now, I know we read in chapter 1 what it is, the substance of things hoped for and the evidence of things not seen. It's things you're hoping for that you can't physically see. But I want to ask you a question and may cut you a little bit. Does that mean you're always going to be happy with what you're following, or that you're going to fully understand? I would say no. And if you think that's true, then I'm sorry, you've been deceived. Faith is not always perfect. Faith is not always joyful. Faith is not always joyful. Faith is not always loud. Faith is not always, a yuha. Sometimes faith is silently walking, not fully understanding what's going on. I mean, just look at Moses when he was leading the Israelites out of Egypt. And through the wilderness. They disobeyed God so many times. I promise you, he still trusted God, but he definitely wasn't probably a happy camper all the time because they were disobedient. Matter of fact, here's an example of how Moses' faith was still in God, but he was waning in it. God, when the Israelites needed water, God told Moses to speak to this rock that God had given them, and it would give them water. Moses didn't speak to the rock. He hid it out of frustration because of the Israelites. And that disobedience cost Moses his life in entering the promised land. So it's showing that we can still have faith in God, but our faith is not always going to be pretty. I mean, just look at Abraham. Abraham did things he didn't want to do because God said he would make him a father of nations. And Abraham did a lot of things that weren't fully God-like. How he had a kid with his servant. Instead of being truly faithful to his wife. And also, let's look at Noah. Noah built the ark. Noah built the ark going off what God had told him. Noah did it out of fear at first. Noah did it out of fear where he just took what God said and did it. And Noah had to wait until it stopped raining before he went out there. He obviously doubted in that minute. It's like, is God really going to do this? Is God really going to wipe out the whole world? He had to wait a long period of time to fully figure out if this was going to go, but he still walked with God. And that shows something very profound because it shows how God knows that it's going to be hard and difficult. He doesn't expect us to always be chipper about the things that's going on in our life, but he wants us to trust him because trust isn't always pretty. Trust is not, oh yeah, I trust you, love. Sometimes trust is like, it seems like you tweaking to me, but I still trust you. Because we know the content of God's character. We've seen throughout other stories in the Bible how God's character is. Another great example of faith is when Abraham was tested. When we read in Genesis how God tested Abraham, and Abraham was willing to give up his son to show his faith to God and his faithfulness that he will follow God through it all. Now, I don't tell you all this to say that, oh yeah, in your walk you're gonna. I don't tell you all this I don't tell you all this so that I'm to scare you in your walk to say, oh yeah, faith is an impossible thing to have. No, what I'm here this is to comfort you, to show you that even if your faith looks a little ugly, it is still faith. And the key is, who are you trusting in your faith? Are you trusting God? Or are you trusting yourself, your circumstances? If you're ultimately trusting God, God will see you through and work through you with your feelings, because you're not going to agree with everything God tells you to do. I mean, God is an all-powerful, all-knowing, omnipresent, omnibenevolent being, and we are very finite and limited. We don't have infinite knowledge. We don't have infinite perspective. So it's okay that you don't fully understand what God's doing in your life. The key is to go to him about it and to keep trusting him as you walk. Still walk with him. God knows you're upset, but still walk. Don't give up. Keep walking. A good analogy I heard was that Noah probably doubted God when all that was happening, but Noah did not leave the ark until God told him to. Stay in the ark. Stay on the course. Even if you don't understand fully what God's doing, stay on the course with him, and he will see you through.